The dance studio, with its polished wooden floors and large mirrors, was Ashley's sanctuary. As she guided her class through the fluid motions of the waltz, she lost herself in the music, her heart beating in time with the rhythm. That evening, the studio was filled with the usual mix of eager students, the air alive with music and laughter. Just as she was demonstrating a complex turn, the door opened, casting a new shadow across the floor. In walked Donald, her ex-husband, a man she hadn't seen since their painful divorce years ago. His presence was like a sudden pause in a symphony, jarring and unexpected. Beside him stood a little girl, about 6 years old, with Donald's unmistakable blue eyes, and a young woman, perhaps in her late 20s, with a gentle smile. Ashley felt a knot form in her stomach. The room seemed to spin, and for a moment, the music faded into a distant echo. She composed herself quickly, masking her turmoil with a professional smile. "Class, let's take a 10-minute break," she announced, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions brewing inside her. As the students dispersed, Ashley approached Donald, her heart pounding. "Donald, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice tinged with a mixture of surprise and apprehension. Donald, looking slightly uneasy, replied, "Ashley, I'm sorry for dropping in like this. This is Emily," he gestured to the little girl, "and this is Lisa, her nanny. Emily wanted to learn dancing, and I thought..." Ashley's gaze shifted to Emily, who clung to Donald's hand, eyeing her curiously. "Hello, Emily. It's nice to meet you," she said softly, her heart aching at the sight of the child. Emily smiled shyly. "Hi, Miss Ashley. Daddy said, you're the best dance teacher." The words stung, a bitter reminder of the life they could have had. Ashley forced a smile. "Thank you, Emily. I'm sure you'll be a wonderful dancer." Turning to Lisa, Ashley extended her hand. "And you must be Lisa." "It's nice to meet you." Lisa shook her hand warmly. "Yes, I've heard a lot about your classes. Emily is very excited." The conversation was polite but strained. The presence of Donald, the little girl, and the young woman whom he had brought into their once shared world was a lot for Ashley to process. As the break ended, Ashley regained her composure. "Well, Emily, are you ready to learn some dance steps?" she asked with a smile, turning her attention to the child. "Yes," Emily exclaimed, her enthusiasm momentarily lifting the heaviness in the room. Ashley led Emily to the dance floor, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. Donald watched from the sidelines, his eyes filled with a complex mix of regret and longing. As the music started again, Ashley focused on teaching, but her mind kept drifting back to Donald, the man who had once been her everything, now a stranger with a life she no longer shared. The unexpected reunion had reopened doors to a past she thought she had closed forever. The dance lesson with Emily was a blur for Ashley. She moved through the steps mechanically, her mind ensnared by the past. After the class, as the students dispersed, Ashley found herself alone in the studio with Donald. The air was thick with unspoken words, a silent acknowledgement of their shared history. Donald broke the silence, his voice hesitant. "Ashley, I know this is unexpected. I didn't mean to disturb you, but Emily insisted on joining your class." Ashley, gathering her thoughts, replied, "It's fine, Donald. Emily is a lovely girl." Her words were diplomatic, but her tone betrayed a hint of sorrow. Donald shifted uncomfortably. "I've wanted to reach out many times, Ashley. After everything that..." Ashley cut him off, a protective wall rising around her heart. "We don't need to rehash the past, Donald. It's been years. We've both moved on." But Donald persisted, the weight of his guilt evident in his eyes. "I know I hurt you. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. You deserved better." The mention of their past, of his affair, of their struggles to have a child, reopened old wounds. Ashley felt a surge of pain, a reminder of the heartbreak that had once consumed her. "It's too late for apologies, Donald," she said, her voice laced with a mixture of sadness and resolve. "What's done is done." Donald nodded, his expression one of regret. I want you to know that leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life. I've never stopped caring about you. Ashley felt a pang in her heart. Caring about me didn't stop you from walking away, she replied. The words, bitter but true. There was a heavy silence, filled with the echoes of a love that once was. Donald looked down, unable to meet her eyes. I know I can't change the past, but I wanted you to hear it from me. I'm sorry, Ashley. Ashley took a deep breath, her emotions a tangled web. Thank you for saying that, Donald. But I've spent a long time healing, and I can't go back to that place again. Donald nodded, a silent understanding passing between them. I respect that, Ashley. I just hope, in time, you can forgive me. Ashley looked at him, a mixture of sadness and strength in her eyes. Maybe one day, Donald. But for now, let's just focus on Emily's dance lesson. As Donald left the studio, Ashley stood alone, the ghosts of their past lingering in the air. The encounter had stirred up emotions she thought she had buried. She was left to grapple with the resurgence of pain and the realization that some scars never fully heal. The following week, Ashley braced herself for Donald and Emily's arrival. When they entered the studio, the air filled with a palpable tension, a mix of nostalgia and awkwardness. This time, Donald lingered after dropping off Emily, clearly wanting to talk. Ashley took a deep breath and approached him. "How's Emily finding the classes?" she asked, initiating a safe topic. Donald smiled, though his eyes seemed clouded with unspoken thoughts. "She loves them. You always had a way with teaching, Ashley." The compliment, innocent as it was, stirred a mix of emotions in Ashley. "Thank you, Donald. She's a quick learner," she replied, keeping her tone neutral. There was a pause, filled with the memories of their shared past. Donald broke the silence, his voice tinged with regret. "Ashley, seeing you again, it's brought back a lot of memories." Ashley felt her defenses rise. "We both have our lives now, Donald. Let's not dwell on the past." I know, Donald agreed, looking down. "It's just hard, you know. Ashley's heart ached, but she held firm. "We did. But that's all behind us now." Donald nodded slowly. "You're right. I never got over the guilt, Ashley. Leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever done." Ashley felt a twinge of old pain. "But you did leave, Donald. And I had to pick up the pieces. It wasn't easy." "I know, and I'm sorry for that," Donald said earnestly. "I guess I just wanted to say that, even after everything, I still care about you." Ashley looked at him, her emotions a complex tapestry of past love and present strength. "I appreciate you saying that, Donald. But caring doesn't erase what happened. We've both moved on." Donald sighed, a look of resignation on his face. "You're right, Ashley." Ashley felt a familiar pang of sadness. "We all have wishes that can't come true, Donald. Let's just focus on Emily and her dancing. That's what's important now." The conversation ended as Emily ran up to them, her face bright with excitement. Donald gave Ashley a final, lingering look before turning to his daughter, the air still heavy with the unsaid and the undone. As Ashley watched them leave, she felt a bittersweet mix of emotions. The encounter had stirred old feelings, but it also reinforced her resolve. She was no longer the person she was when she was with Donald. She had grown, healed, and the past was a part of her, but it would not define her future. Several weeks had passed since Donald's unexpected re-entry into Ashley's life. She had managed to maintain a professional demeanor during the dance classes, but the undercurrents of their past were always present. One evening, after a particularly emotional class, Ashley was surprised to find Donald waiting for her outside the studio. The night air was crisp and the street was quiet, creating an intimate setting that was both unexpected and unsettling. "Donald, what are you doing here?" Ashley asked, her guard up. "I needed to talk to you, Ashley. Somewhere away from the studio, away from prying eyes," Donald replied, his voice low and earnest. Ashley hesitated, but eventually agreed to let him come over to her apartment for a brief talk. As they sat in her living room, surrounded by the familiarity of her personal space, the atmosphere was tense. "Look, Ashley, I know I've caused you a lot of pain. I've been living with that guilt every day," Donald started, his eyes searching hers for understanding. Ashley shifted uncomfortably. "Donald, why bring this up now? After all these years?" "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Donald confessed. "Being around you again, seeing how you've moved on, it's made me realize how much I lost when I lost you." Ashley's heart fluttered against her will. "Donald, we were over a long time ago. We can't just erase the past." I know, Donald said, moving closer, "but I can't help wondering." Before she could respond, Donald reached out and gently touched her hand. The contact was electric, awakening a torrent of buried feelings and memories. Ashley found herself leaning in, drawn by the familiar warmth of his touch. Their eyes met, and for a moment they were back in time, to when their love was untainted by betrayal and pain. The moment was shattered when Ashley suddenly pulled away, the reality of their present crashing down on her. "Donald, we can't do this," she said, her voice a mix of confusion and resolve. "What happened between us? It changed everything. We can't just..." Donald's expression was one of longing and regret. "I know, Ashley. But being near you, it feels like coming home. I've missed you so much." Ashley felt a surge of conflicting emotions, the comfort of their past and the pain of his betrayal. "Donald, you left. You chose to walk away, and I had to find a way to live with that." "I know, and I'm sorry, more than you can imagine," Donald replied, his voice breaking. "But I had to tell you how I feel. I owe you that much." Ashley stood up, her mind a whirlwind. "You need to leave, Donald. We both have to live with the choices we've made. Please just go." Donald stood, the pain in his eyes mirroring her own. "I understand, Ashley. I'll always care about you, no matter what." As he left, Ashley collapsed onto her sofa, her heart racing. The encounter had reignited old flames and awakened dormant feelings. She was left to grapple with the complexity of her emotions, the residual love for the man she once knew, and the resentment for the pain he caused. It was a conflict that tore at her, leaving her uncertain about what the future held. In the days following Donald's visit, Ashley found herself in a state of emotional turmoil. The walls of her apartment, once a haven of solitude and peace, now echoed with the remnants of their last conversation. She sat on her balcony, gazing out into the night sky, her thoughts a chaotic blend of parts. Her phone buzzed, and she saw it was a call from her close friend, Maria. "Hey, Ash, how are you holding up?" Maria's voice was filled with concern. Ashley sighed. "I'm not sure, Maria. I feel like I'm caught in a storm and can't find my way out." "What happened?" Maria pressed, sensing her friend's distress. Ashley recounted the unexpected visit from Donald, their conversation, and the moment of intimacy that had left her so conflicted. "He said he still cares about me, Maria. And for a moment, I almost believed that we could go back to how things were." Maria was silent for a moment before responding. "Ash, you've come so far since your divorce. Remember how much it hurt when he left? You rebuilt your life from those ashes." I know, Ashley acknowledged, her voice tinged with sadness. "But there's a part of me that can't help but wonder what if. What if things had been different?" "Ashley, what ifs are dangerous," Maria cautioned. "They can make you forget why things ended in the first place. Donald hurt you deeply. You can't just ignore that." Ashley leaned back, feeling the weight of her friend's words. "You're right. It's just hard, you know. Our history, the good times we had. They haunt..." Maria's voice softened. "It's okay to cherish the good memories, Ash. But don't let them overshadow the reasons you had to let go. You've grown so much since then. Don't lose sight of that." Ashley nodded, though Maria couldn't see it. "I'm just afraid of making the wrong decision. Afraid of getting hurt again." "That's That's understandable, Maria replied. But you're stronger now, more aware of what you want and need. Trust in that strength and in yourself. The conversation with Maria helped Ashley gain perspective. She realized that while her feelings for Donald were complex, they couldn't erase the pain and betrayal of the past. Love was not just about the good times. It was also about respect, trust, and mutual support, things that had been lacking in their relationship. As she ended the call, Ashley knew that the path ahead would not be easy. She had to confront her feelings for Donald, understanding that they were part of her past, not her future. The reflections on love and hurt had shown her that while the heart may yearn for what was lost, wisdom lay in learning from the past and moving forward, stronger and more self-aware. After her conversation with Maria, Ashley knew she needed more than self-reflection to navigate her tangled emotions. She decided to seek support from her therapist, Dr. Harper, whom she hadn't seen since she had felt more settled post-divorce. Sitting in the familiar, comforting office of Dr. Harper, Ashley began to unravel her thoughts. "I thought I had moved past all this," she started, her voice a mixture of frustration and vulnerability. "But seeing Donald again, it's like I'm back at square one." Dr. Harper, a kind, insightful woman, listened intently. "It's natural to feel unsettled, Ashley. Re-encountering someone from our past, especially someone who had such an impact, can stir up a lot of emotions." Ashley sighed. "But why does it feel like I'm betraying myself? I've worked so hard to get over him, to get over the pain." "Recovery isn't linear, Ashley," Dr. Harper explained. "You're not betraying yourself. You're simply human. It's okay to still have feelings for him, but it's also important to remember why things—" "I keep thinking about this what-ifs," Ashley confessed. "What if he's changed? What if we could start over?" Dr. Harper nodded understandingly. "Those are common thoughts, but let's explore them. Do you believe people fundamentally change? And more importantly, has Donald shown you through his actions that he has changed?" Ashley pondered the question. "I don't know. Part of me wants to believe he can change, but another part of me doubts it. Let's not forget the young girl and woman he brought to your dance class," Dr. Harper reminded gently. "How does their presence make you feel?" Ashley's expression darkened slightly. "It hurts. It's a constant reminder of what I couldn't give him and what he chose to seek elsewhere." "Your feelings are valid," Dr. Harper reassured her. "It's important to acknowledge them, but also to ask yourself what you truly want and need in your life right." Ashley took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her therapist's words. "I need peace. I need to feel like I'm not stuck in the past." "Then focus on that," Dr. Harper advised. "Consider what brings you peace and fulfillment. Your career, your hobbies, your friends. Reflect on how far you've come and what you've achieved since your divorce." Leaving Dr. Harper's office, Ashley felt a sense of clarity. She realized that while part of her still cared for Donald, she cared more about her own well-being and happiness. She had grown and changed, and she couldn't let her past dictate her future. As Ashley walked through the park, she felt a renewed sense of strength. She had faced her emotions head-on and had sought the support and advice she needed. Now, it was time to focus on herself, on her journey of healing and self-discovery, and on building a future that was defined not by her past, but by her own dreams and aspirations. Months had passed since Ashley's last encounter with Donald, and in that time, she had journeyed through a spectrum of emotions. The dance studio, once a place of turmoil, had again become her sanctuary, a symbol of her resilience and passion. One evening, as she closed the studio, Ashley's phone rang. It was Maria. "Hey, Ash, how are you feeling these days?" Maria's voice was always a source of comfort. Ashley smiled into the phone. "I'm doing well, actually. It feels like I've turned a corner." "That's great to hear," Maria replied. "Have you heard from Donald?" "No, and I'm okay with that," Ashley said with a newfound confidence. "I've realized that some paths are meant to diverge. Donald is a part of my past, but not my future. Maria's voice warmed with pride. "I'm so happy for you, Ash. You've come a long way." Ashley walked outside, the cool evening air refreshing. "I have. And I've been thinking a lot about what Dr. Harper said, about focusing on what brings me peace and fulfillment." "And what have you found?" Maria inquired. "Freedom," Ashley responded. "Freedom in accepting the past, in embracing my present, and in looking forward to my future. I've started writing again, something I haven't done since before my marriage." "That's amazing, Ash. What are you writing about?" Maria's excitement was palpable. "A story about love, loss, and finding oneself again." "It's therapeutic, in a way," Ashley explained, her voice tinged with enthusiasm. "I can't wait to read it," Maria said. "You're an inspiration, you know." Ashley laughed lightly. "Thanks, Maria. I couldn't have done it without your support." As they ended the call, Ashley looked up at the stars, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. She realized that the unexpected reunion with Donald had been a catalyst for her own growth. It had forced her to confront her past, evaluate her present, and take control of her future. She had learned that moving forward didn't mean forgetting the past, but learning from it. It meant understanding that the scars of yesterday could become the strengths of tomorrow. Her journey wasn't just about moving on from Donald. It was about rediscovering herself, her passions, and her dreams. As Ashley walked home, she felt a lightness in her step, a symbol of her unburdened heart. She was ready to face whatever the future held, armed with the knowledge that she was strong, resilient, and capable of overcoming whatever challenges life might throw her way. The story of Ashley's journey was one of resilience, hope, and the enduring power of self-discovery. It was a testament to the fact that even in the wake of heartache and loss, one could find a path forward, illuminated by the light of inner strength and the support of loved ones. Her story was not just about the end of a chapter with Donald, but the beginning of a new, promising chapter in her own life.